you're more than welcome to stand up and take any pictures if you'd like. If you look right above your head, those yellow strips, those are for medical emergencies only. Please press those if you're in need of assistance. If you're in the cabin right behind me, you do not have yellow strips. You're gonna wave your hands or knock on my window to get my attention. If you drop any personal belongings overboard, wave goodbye, because I will not be stopping to pick them up. But try to remember the location and let us know at the end of the tour, and we'll do our best to get those back to you. And now we can get to some of these animals out here. Over on our right hand side, this is a South African cheetah and a yellow lab. The cheetah is Bayati and the dog is Willow. They are partnered up here together because dogs do give cheetahs confidence in order to be out here. They are the scaredy cats of the savannah, but they can run up to about 65-70 miles an hour. So very different to that dog. But they can only run those distances or that speed for about 30 seconds to a minute. So they are definitely sprinters and not long distance runners. So they do really need to camouflage in their environment due to this. This is why cheetahs have spots. So it's kind of an optical illusion when they are standing in between tall grasses or underneath trees in the shade, so that they can really camouflage in their environment. And over on our right hand side also are the greater flamingos.
Look at the flamingo.
The only thing that makes them greater than the lessers are that they are taller.
They're matching it.
There are lesser flamingos here at the park as well as American flamingos. But we're going to move into some other habitats because we're going to be coming back to this area at the end of the tour. So we're going to be seeing all these other animals not too long from now. As we make our way, I do want to thank you all for coming out and visiting us. This happens to be a very important year of the safari park, as we've now been open for 50 years. We opened up on May 10th of 1972, and since the opening, we've had over 40,000 babies born and hatched here. And we've been able to release over 40 different species of animals back into the wild. And that's thanks to all of you guys who've been coming out and supporting us for the last 50 years. And a lot of that goes towards the Rhino Rescue Center over on our right-hand side. There is a rhino out here. She is up against the wall. She is very hard to see. But the rhinos that live here are southern whites. Now the cousin of those guys, the northern white rhinos, there are only 2 left in the entire world, which is why the southern white rhinos are here, so that they can be surrogate mothers to the northern white rhino embryo we have here at the Frozen Zoo. Now so far, within all the rhino science, we've had 2 babies born from artificial insemination, from a southern white embryo and a southern white mother. Those 2 babies are Edward and Future, and we're doing that so we understand, again, the science behind surrogacy before we start with the northern white embryos. So if you come back in the next 10 years or so, you may be able to see one of those rhinos with your own eyes, which will be really exciting for all of us here. Now we have made our way into South Africa. This is the South Pond here. Africa is the 2nd largest continent in the world. So we're going to be seeing lots of different types of animals that live in different environments of each other. Those environments will include the savanna, the desert, and the African forest. And since we do have a lot of animals, I'll do my best to get to every single one of them, but we're going to be talking about the ones that are closest to us and the animals that are considered keystone species. That phrase means if those certain species go extinct, then the entire ecosystem has the ability to collapse. So this antelope on our left-hand side that is gray, they are not a keystone species. These are the hen flock. They're going to live out in the desert, so they camouflage in the sandy environment with that gray. But look at those black markings along their face and sides. They use those to look a little bit larger than they really are. So if a predator spots them from far away, It won't want to exert all of that energy chasing after something a little bit too big. Now over on our right hand side, this is the bird marsh. We have pelicans, storks, African crown cranes, and of course the vultures. So there is a vulture towards the front of the tram, standing on a rock. That is a rapid-faced vulture, and I guess some of the other ones are hiding between the trees. But vultures are a keystone species because they're the cleanup crew. They take care of all the different diseases out there in the world. They can eat anthrax, COVID, polio, and many more. So if they were to go extinct, then disease will go rampant in the world, not only affecting us, but every single other animal literally in the entire world. So within North America, South Africa, Amazonia, any different continent. Now we're going to be seeing another keystone species. It happens to be the tallest land mammal in the world, the giraffe. And the giraffes that live out here in South Africa will look a little bit different than the ones you normally imagine in your head. They're a lot darker. Looks like they're up on the top of the hill, but you can see the little springbok to the left as we pass by. Those guys live out in the savannah, so they have tan tops to camouflage and white underbellies to reflect the heat. So at the very top of the hill there, next to that truck, there are two Maasai giraffes. Even from far away, you can still tell how much darker they are. And their spot pattern will be leaf-shaped instead of circles and rectangles. You'll be able to see that a lot easier with these other giraffes that are a lot closer. The male Maasai giraffe is almost all black in color, and he is 18 feet tall. The females will range between 14 to 16 feet. And the reason why they are keystone species is because they're the watchtowers. They are the first ones to see if a predator is on the way. They can see miles and miles away with their amazing eyesight. But because of this and their importance, they only sleep to about 5 to 30 minutes a day. That's as much sleep as they need in a 24-hour period. So they will try to conserve energy. By doing that, they'll eat things up towards their height, lay down, or stand very still like a statue. Now these guys are fighting a silent extinction in the wild, mainly due to poaching and habitat loss. So we started something called the Twiga Walinzi Initiative, standing for Giraffe Guards in Swahili. And that's where we'll put little trackers on their ossetones, those little knobs on their heads, to learn more about their migration patterns or how many giraffes live in a group of each other, so we can really better understand how to protect them. And that's something you can do at home as well. You can go on wildwatchkenya.org and track your very own. It is completely free. It's so that you can learn more about them and also help us as well. So this male Maasai giraffe, again the really dark one, it looks to us that he's just standing very still, but what he's doing is he's trying to court this female right now. So by standing directly behind her, if she moves away, that means she is not interested, but she is eating at the moment, so it looks like he is taking advantage of this opportunity. But he will also touch his nose to her back. He might do it in just a moment. I'm a little worried that we might see something that we have not planned. He's looking like it right now. But if you come back next year, we might have a new baby giraffe. The youngest out here is 2 years old. She's eating out of that food trough a little farther away. And some other savanna animals are the Patterson's elands. Those large tan ones look like they're getting a nice snack over there. That is the largest species of antelope. And they are really cool. They're very muscular. They can weigh a couple thousand pounds. There's another one right in this little boma here. You can see really close, and their horns are spiral shaped and very thick so that they can break off branches from the tops of the trees. And if you have a chance to look behind their front legs, there's a black stripe. That is called a follow me mark, so that when they're migrating long distances, they don't get lost from each other. It's essentially the same thing if you go to a crowded area with your family and you're all wearing the same colored shirt. A lot of these animals will have their own version of a follow me mark depending on what area that they live in. So the eland here, the savanna, more shorter grasses. So theirs can be on their legs because they're not walking through very tall grass so that they can see them. And over on our right hand side, this is the desert habitat. The dromedary camel is up there. He's picking up dirt at the moment. He's a little bit hard to spot. But I wanted to show you guys the Somali wild ass because they have a very interesting follow me mark. This is a little unprecedented because they are really hiding at the moment. Usually you can see them very close. Well, every day is a new day. But the closest living relative to the Somalis are the zebras. So we'll head into Central Africa to see what those zebras are up to. If you look to the left on the far side, you can see those two grevies. This is the largest species, and they have the most number of stripes. So their stripes are very thin, very close together. Now I'm not able to stop on this hill, but I'll try to go as slow as I can. We'll be able to see them over on the other side. But does anybody know why zebras have stripes? Because they don't want to be spotted. But they use them to camouflage within each other. So when they're standing very close or running away, a predator will not be able to pinpoint exactly which zebra they're trying to chase after. But if this doesn't work, they'll resort to their defense strategies, being biting and kicking, like most horse species do. Their kick is incredibly strong. They're able to break a lion's jaw with it, so don't be fooled by them. They are very tough horses. Now up on the bridge here, we can check out some other antelope species that are also similar in color to the eland and the giraffe. They'll live more in the African forest, so they'll still camouflage within like green grasses or in between the trees. So look to your right hand side. This little orange one here is a female Sitatunga. You can see that she has some white stripes and spots along her. That's to help camouflage within the light in between the trees of the forest. And Sitatungas are also considered sexually dimorphic. You can see another one on the top of the hill to the right. Now, sexually dimorphic means that the males and females look very different from each other. So they live in an area with a lot of resources in the forest. So if you look to your left-hand side towards the front of the tram along the wall, you can see a dark brown antelope with horns. That is a male Nyala. Now the reason why I'm pointing them out is because the Nyalas look exactly like the male Sitatungas. Same color, same stripes. Nyala are just slightly bigger. They can really see the difference in that color. That Sitatunga is starting to walk down this hill. She is very duck-footed because they're a water antelope as well. So those legs of theirs are more for the water instead of the land. You may be able to spot the Nyala again over here, or the tips of their horns. So the males will be that dark color to be a spotlight. So the predators are going to notice them over the females that are camouflaging. Giraffes are also sexually dimorphic. You saw the male was a lot darker than those females. So again, that will show you what type of area that they live in. Now we passed by an antelope on the hill. We might be able to see them again. They are roan antelopes. They are large and tan with black facial markings. They might all be over on the other side, but they are the opposite. Because they live in an area with very limited resources, so the males and females will look the same. Both have sets of horns and facial markings to elongate those horns. Now, the zebras were over here a moment ago.
What did you say about him?
Looks like they ran away from us.
He's annoying?
This is a very interesting day for horses. The Somalis and the zebras are not very interested today. Well, I guess we'll head back into South Africa to see what those other animals are up to. So if you look over to your right-hand side, I want to note this area. This is called Coastal Sage Scrub and Chaparral. Now bear with me. The safari park is an 1,800-acre facility, and 800 of that goes to this nature reserve that you see here. Because Southern California has the most endangered ecosystem, so we protect animals like the California condor, the mule deer, and the burrowing owl. Now the California condor in particular is a type of vulture, so again a keystone species. And they almost went extinct. There were only 22 left in the world in 1981. So we gathered them all up here and we bred over 500 of them. You can visit them here at the park. They are quite the incredible bird up in Condor Ridge. And over on our left-hand side, they are very alerted by something, but these are the Ellipsan waterbuck. So they also live out in the savannah, but they camouflage more in between the rocks near ponds and lakes. There are two babies. One was born on New Year's Eve, and one was born 2 weeks after that. They're called the Ellipsans due to a white circle on their rear. It sort of looks like they sat on a toilet seat with wet paint on it. And that is their version of a follow me mark. So theirs are a lot higher than the eland because they go through the water and a lot taller grasses. So nice that we saw one more example of that follow me mark. Now we're also a plant conservation here at the park. Between us and the zoo we have 1.5 million different specimens of plants. And a very important one is the African coral tree, the one with the red blossoms on it. Now in Africa, they will use those blossoms to make jewelry to help sustain themselves in small villages, which I find very fascinating to really use all the resources that this wonderful world provides. And here's that other giraffe that is having this nice snack all to herself. She is the smart one. And my favorite antelope is to the right, the scimitar horned oryx. So we have reached the sub-Saharan desert of Chad and Niger. These guys are very cool because during the day they'll put their backs towards the sun to reflect as much heat as possible. And at night, they'll do the opposite, put their faces towards the sun to absorb heat with those brown necks. Now, these guys did go extinct in the wild in the 1980s and 90s. So they only lived in zoos and sanctuaries around the world. Here at the park, we've bred about 500 to 700 of them. And in 2016, we helped organizations in Africa, specifically Chad, release about 50 of them. Now the reason why they went extinct in the first place is because their migration patterns are being shortened. Due to urbanization, they have nowhere to go, so they have no resources to collect. And living out in the desert, there's already little resources to begin with. So we do track them, the 50 that we have helped release, to really learn their migration patterns. Same with the giraffe. So if we need to move cities somewhere else, move houses, so that these migration pathways are being cleared up for these species to go through. Now here in Southern California, we also have that same problem. All the birds that are migrating, all the deer, even rabbits or squirrels that are around us are endangered because they have nowhere to go, no resources to collect. So even just putting out bird feeders or planting any type of tree that's native here, so laurel sumac, a pepper tree, or any type of bush, will help provide shelter for those animals and provide food and resources. Now, if you don't want the plants to get eaten by like the deer and stuff, pepper trees are perfect because they have that really peppery smell, and deer have taste buds like we do. They don't want to just eat pepper all by itself. So that is a perfect plant to have to just provide that shelter. Now we are heading back into East Africa to hopefully check out some more rhinos and giraffes. As well as you can see the flamingos again to the left. Looks like these giraffes are all fairly close. And these are the commons again. So these guys are going to eat acacia trees and thorn trees where they're from. So they have very sticky tongues in order to protect themselves from the thorns. And their tongue is about 16 inches long. So from the top of your middle finger down towards your elbow to reach at the very top of the tree. The youngest down here is 6 months old. Little Upendi. He's standing pretty much in the middle. He's almost the same height as that pillar there. And there are 2 1-year-olds.
Wow, a hot air balloon.
I'll stop right on up here. Everyone can get a good look. This will be your last chance to kind of stand up, see these animals, take a picture. So what they're eating down here, and the Maasai were eating it as well, it's called browse. So we grow a lot of our own food here at the park, specifically out in the parking lot. In between each row, you can see all those beautiful trees. The wildlife care specialists will trim them down every single day to feed to the giraffe, as well as the okapi. The okapi is the closest living relative to the giraffe. You can see them down in the Africa Loop. There is a baby okapi out there that was born in December. They are a very cute animal. It's kind of a mixture between a horse, zebra, giraffe. You will understand that when you actually see them. And East Africa here does extend a lot farther than what we see on the Tram. So if you'd like to see some of those rhinos, you can go up towards Kalima Point. You'll turn right from the tram station, past Lion Camp, and make your next right, and that will be Kalima Point. That is where these fringe-eared oryx are, those brown antelope, as well as, we'll double check, but the rhinos should all be up there. Yep, they are all sleeping in a large pile. And that's also how you get to the viewing patio to see the elephants. We have 9 elephants here at the park, including 2 4-year-old babies. They are always up to something new. So again, my name is Emily. I've been your driver tour guide for the last 25 to 30 minutes. If that happens to be the worst tour you've ever been on, then my name is not Emily, it is Katie. I will be standing at the front of the tram station though if you have any questions for me. Say hello and goodbye to those lions over there on the right. allow your main seat until the vehicle comes to a full and complete stop. You're more than welcome to open up your own doors.